All right, we'll get started in just a minute. You are not.
Separate.
You weren't actually late.
This keeps the gender division going.
Yeah. On the girls' side, you don't sit anywhere on the girls' side. I'm Jessica.
I'm Kathleen.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. I'm Rachel from Santa Rosa.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
Good to see you. Happy New Year.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. It looks like we do have a quorum in the room. So welcome everyone to the January 14th Transit Technical Advisory Committee. Let's go ahead and get started with introductions in the room. I am Dana Trey with Sonoma County Transportation and Climate Authorities, and I will pass it to Rachel.
I'm Rachel Eid with Santa Rosa City Bus. Kathleen Sullivan with Marin Transit.
Jessica Sandoval with Golden Gate Transit.
Chris Cohn, FCTCA. I'm here today in my new role as a grant coordination service provider, and I'm here to listen and learn about issues of funding that are concerned to this committee.
Owen Christofferson with SMART.
Chris Barney, SETCA.
David Davenport, Golden Gate Transit.
Jared Hall, Petaluma Transit.
Great, and then let's turn it over to folks on the Zoom. If you could introduce yourselves.
Okay. Finally, technical difficulties. Stephanie Britt, SETCA.
Right, okay, there were other people on, and it looks like they dropped off. Um, oh, Don, your list says Jacob is on, but for some reason I'm not seeing him on my list. Oh, interesting. Panelists and attendees. Got it. Okay, we have a little bit of a new setup here. So, Adam, go ahead.
Just there I am. Okay. Hi, Adam Garcia, SCTCA.
Great. And I see that Jacob Brown from Golden Gate Transit is also on.
Hi, yes, I'm here. I couldn't get I can't figure out what's working this morning, but I'm here.
Thank you, Jacob. So we do have a little bit of a different setup for our committees on Zoom. We're now using the webinar format rather than meeting format. Don, do you want to say a few words about how people will experience this on Zoom?
It shouldn't be a whole lot different, but if they're having an issue, I did see Adam raise his hand to speak. So if you're having an issue with the speaking part of it, please raise your hand and I'll make sure to unmute you. And I will hopefully try to get it fixed. This is the first meeting of the year for us. So I will try to set it so that you don't have to raise your hand in the future to do that. Hopefully it'll be open for you to speak. But for this meeting, I'm sorry about that and I will get it fixed.
Thank you, Don. And I'll try to look out for raised hands as well as we move forward. All right, great. Moving on to item number 2. Is there any public comment on items not on the agenda? And I'm not seeing any members of the public. So let's move on to item number 3, administrative items. 3.1 is approval of the meeting notes from December 10th.
Motion approval.
A second.
Great. So it's a first from Jared and a second from Rachel. Any opposed? Great. Okay, moving on. In your agenda packet is item 3 is a schedule of all of the SCTCA committee meetings for 2026. You could see under transit TAC, we don't have one scheduled in November due to a conflict with, I believe that's Veterans Day. But otherwise, our regular second Wednesday of the month meetings. Any questions or comments on administrative or on the calendar? Great. Okay. Moving along, we have an item under regional funding. We have the TDA fund history, which has been updated. There's a link to it in the packet, and I also have some printouts that are on large paper, but with still very tiny. So I'm gonna pass these around and grab one if you want a printout. But we do have the second quarter revenues added to this, and we have seen slight increases. Oh, well, actually, second quarter was 4.32% increase over last year. But for the last 4 quarters, consistently, there have been increases, which is good news after 6 quarters of decreases in revenues. We also got an estimate for the a revised estimate for the FY26 totals, which was down roughly $1 million from the original estimate. So they're now estimating that at 29.1 million. And then estimate for FY27 is 29.6 million. We will take these numbers and put it into the preliminary TDA estimate, which we'll share with this committee, kind of a informational discussion item next month, and then send that preliminary estimate with the percentages of TDA to each operator to MTC to inform their fund estimate. And then, as usual, we'll bring the coordinated claim to this committee in March, and then to our board in April.
So Dana, the 29.6 million estimate, that's for 27?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then current year is 29?
29.1.
A little increase.
Yeah, so
Okay.
projecting a little increase.
Great.
Any questions or comments on the TDA fund history?
Some good news.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Moving in a positive direction, right? All right, moving on to item number 5, transit integration updates. We are developing a scope of work and request for proposals for the next phase of transit integration planning work, which we will talk with our transit ad hoc about this week, and then bring to our board of directors for approval in February. And that will start the procurement process. So we are hoping to get a consultant on board by May, June timeframe to kick that off. And we are also getting closer, honing in on launching the kind of phase 2 of the website integration, which includes launching of the updated websites for Petaluma Transit, Sonoma County Transit, and then the sub-regional landing page with links to all transit agencies that serve the county. So hopefully we'll get that up before our next meeting, but that is coming up soon.
The RFP out.
Oh yeah, the RFP will be, we're planning to have that out
Oh, you meant
after
the
our,
website
yeah, the
before.
website before the next meeting. I guess the RFP as well, right? Because our next meeting is just after our board meeting, so yeah, come out right around then as well. Anything else from the transit operators on the, Sonoma County bus operator integration that I may have missed? Okay, great. Well, then let's move on to regional meetings report outs. Anyone have any report outs they want to share? Yeah,
Sure. So I went to my first Regional Network Management Council meeting in December after Nancy Whelan passed the baton to me. And I think most of you are probably familiar with what was on that agenda, but just a quick recap. So the R&M Council did approve the transit priority policy for roadways that we've discussed in this meeting, and that will help ensure that transit considerations are being taken into consideration with project development fundings, and upcoming through OBAG is a kind of a first round with that. So it's going on. Actually, I think the Regional Network Management Committee was probably last week, but then it'll go to the commission for approval. So that's on its way. And there was also, we also acted on the regional paratransit one-seat ride pilots. And so the Marin Sonoma pilot that is part of the Mascots initiative was approved by the R&M Council to move forward. So that's exciting. And and then there was a presentation on communications coordination around the Bay Area, all the initiatives to have us all on message and working together. And apparently there's a Bay Area Transit Discord that is a new thing, and I joined it. It's very entertaining. So trying to keep up with the youths. Yeah. It's wild. You should get on there. Anyway, yeah, that's a quick update on R&M. And the January meeting's been canceled. So in the future, I'll try to make sure that I'm looping out to this group for any agenda items on the R&M Council, but January we have the month off.
great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, any other regional meeting report outs?
Clipper is still continues to be a colorful experience. But yeah, there's the executive board, staff liaison, and a multitude of other meetings. I think we all know how it's going, but the work continues on trying to fix the various issues. We at our agency discovered an unexpected workflow in the regional transfer pilot, which is if somebody does a interagency transfer at the start of their trip, then all subsequent transfers are considered interagency transfers. So if somebody takes SMART to a Golden Gate Transit bus and then connects to another Golden Gate Transit bus, that GGT to GGT transfer is considered an interagency transfer, which of course is not our expectation. So you may hear from customers who are unhappy about being overcharged. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about it at the moment.
That's
And so I'm assuming that only impacts like riders taking yeah, 3 legs, but also a leg where the fare is over the standard transfer.
Yes, right, which for Golden Gate Transit is the case for us. So if you are connecting to a local operator or even Sonoma County Transit, which has some higher fares, they're still below the threshold. So the customer in the end won't notice a difference. It's only when the fare floats above 285 that you start seeing the discrepancy. So it'll be Golden Gate Transit, BART, Caltrain, where you start seeing this problem. Or according to them, it's not a problem. That's how it's intended to work. But yeah, so Clipper continues. The other update, I think, is regional mapping and wayfinding project. It's not really related to the meetings, but the Larkspur pilot has been delayed. So implementation of that won't be until 2027.
That's quite a delay.
So we are going to be working with Smart on some interim wayfinding issues, just because mascots does take effect in April. So we need to have some improvements out there in the meantime.
A question for you on Clipper. Did they give an update on the migration status from the old Clipper cards to the system?
The batch migration is still on pause because they're working through all of the problems with self-selected migrations, right, from customers who wanted to upgrade. The last update I saw was 500,000 cards had been upgraded out of the millions that are in circulation. So what I don't know yet is how delayed the batch migrations are in terms of will they still be finalized by March, which is what our expectation originally was. So we'll see, right? This was originally like a 12-week timeline for the batch migrations, but we're 5 weeks in and then they're still not doing the batch migrations. Thank you.
I have a question on Clipper. We had a woman come into our office yesterday that said she has a Clipper Start card that hasn't worked since November, and she's called Clipper customer service like 4 times. Does anyone have any ideas of how to help such a person? I think she's in that limbo category of like migration issues, but she said all she hears from Clipper customer service is you have to wait, but she's not clear what she's waiting for. So she finally came to our office.
Yeah, I know Clipper Start was on the list originally of various product types that had problems. All I've heard is people have to wait, but that they're working on all of the cards that are in quote unquote Clipper purgatory. And that quantity has decreased over time. So hopefully there is an actual date where her card would start working again. But other than Clipper customer service, I'm not aware of any other means of helping such an individual, unfortunately. Yeah. And their wait times, of course, have been significantly longer than usual.
Yeah.
They did tell us though that like calling is better than email or online. They actually disabled the web chat client just because it was such a problem.
Yeah.
Thank you for those updates. All right, are there any mascots updates for the group? I think that there's some work going on in the marketing group to prepare for further education. I think not much new from last month.
And the interagency paratransit MOU memorandum of understanding is now complete and executed.
Signed, yes, thank you. Okay. Any other regional meeting report outs?
I think the Transit 2050 Plus, there's some sort of related EIR that has a comment period wrapping up in another week.
Okay.
As it relates to compliance on air quality or something like that.
All right. Well, thank you all. Let's go ahead and move on to transit operator updates. Put it up, Jared. Do you want to start off?
Yeah, no problem.
Okay.
So for Petaluma Transit in December, our fixed route ridership was up by 11%. Paratransit was down 15%, so a bit kind of unusual there. Perhaps the weather had some impact on those items. We had a pretty wet month. Our new advertising vendor is starting this month. They're called Zenith Billboards, and so they'll be managing our ad program going forward. So any businesses out there that want to advertise on our buses or bus shelters, they'll be doing the administration of that. So looking forward to working with them. Dana mentioned the websites before. We're putting the finishing touches on the Petaluma Transit website. Should be ready in about 2 weeks or so. So just finalizing that now. Our facility electrification project is coming along well, and we're mostly complete with that. We anticipate work will be done around mid-February, And we're hoping to have a community open house ribbon cutting type events, date TBD, but the first part of March is what we anticipate. We'll let everyone know once we have that locked down. Luma Ice ran again for the second year. That ran from December 10th to January 6th. So that just wrapped up. That was successful for the city again. And then we're having a community transit budget discussion workshop with our transit advisory committee and the public on January 20th that people are encouraged to attend. And that's it for us.
Thank you. All right, David.
So looking at our traffic and ridership trends, it's not closed for us yet. So November compared to the November before, bridge traffic is up 3%, which is nice for us since the toll revenue supports our transit program. Bus ridership is up 11% compared to the previous November. And ferry ridership is up 4% compared to the previous November. So that was good to see because in October we did see a small dip, but our 2025 numbers are still the highest they've been since COVID. Beyond that, our focus is really on kicking off all of the mascot service changes. We've got about 3 months to go, and it's the most significant service change undertaking that we've had since 2003. So lots of work to be done. So I think that's really it for Golden Gate. Oh, I'll lead in and say Jessica Sandoval, who's our senior planner, is joining us today. And I think moving forward, we plan on her being the one that attends TTAC. Jacob will still join us online, and I'll come on an as needed basis.
Welcome. All right, Owen.
All right. Yeah, so for SMART, first of all, on the capital side, the Healdsburg extension construction continues. Last month, the SMART board approved a addendum to the EIR to kind of deal with some details of the project, including a reconstruction of the Russian River Bridge. So that will be a full reconstruction as opposed to a rehabilitation, and making sure some bicycle pedestrian bridges for the SMART pathway and kind of clarifying the pathway alignment. And on ridership, we finished December about 40% over December 2024. So a really great ridership month. We kind of the beginning of the month with the weather, it wasn't looking too good, but we saw a really nice kind of post-holiday surge, a lot of recreational riders. So that was really great to see. Our average weekday was up 29%, average Saturday 21%, and average Sunday 29%. And speaking of Clipper, I did recently just kind of pull some of the initial Clipper 2 reports for this for the month of December. So that would have been kind of December 10th through the end. We had about 10% of our total Clipper tags were kind of registered under the new system. So that was kind of interesting. Obviously, the batch conversion is going to happen at a much later date. We've been experiencing a few technical issues here and there regarding, some kind of fare products, some of the accumulators, some of the transfers. And so we're still troubleshooting some of that on the back end. But by and large, Clipper has, it hasn't been, it's been all right. That's about it from SMART.
Thank you. 100,000.
We did exceed 100,000.
There's a lot of cheers when that doesn't happen. Okay, what do I have to report? Let's see. I think our ridership was up, I think just 1%, steady from last year for November and December. Fixed route. Our transit's growing. We're getting a new electric bus delivered next week. 35-foot BYD. What else is going on? We've rescoped the study that we had discussed with you before a little bit, and now calling it the
strategic plan, Sonoma County Transit Strategic Plan. Sorry, distracted. So goodbye treats.
Will you still have treats?
No, the slogan is no treats.
No treats.
Just want to be clear. Only strategies.
Only strategies, no snack.
Pure strategies, no fruit. Okay, that's all I got. Yes.
Thank you. All right, Kathleen.
Let's see. We have a new general manager. He started on Monday. His name is Robert. Perhaps you've met him before. We also have a few big facility projects. We got our EIR approved by our board for our new facility, which is exciting. We also got a grant for our Rush Landing facility to do some renovation and upgrade, mostly to make the second floor usable because it wasn't ADA accessible. And so we had a whole floor we weren't able to use. So between those two facilities, we think that it'll just be a game changer for us in terms of contracting our service. And so we have our design RFP and such is sort of going through the process right now for the next stages for both of those, actually. We are also working on bus stop guidelines, updating our bus stop guidelines, including, and they will include some bus bike integration illustrations just to have, it's definitely a major issue in Marin where the major bus corridors also are major bike corridors. And so we're excited to have just something we can point to in those when we have issues of some options. And yeah, I think that's all worth mentioning for now, or all that I've figured out in my first 3 days.
Welcome back.
That's fair. You already gave me another thing to steal from Marin Transit. So
Great.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. I have an all bus update today. So our 6, like, I'm very excited about, like, when I can talk about positive things about buses. So our 6 new electric Gilligs are just like days away from hitting the road. They've got all the onboard tech installed and with a few just little things yet to iron out. So we just need to finish the paperwork and get the operators trained on them. And so we're hoping to pull them out in January, and it looks like we'll make it. So we'll see. I'll fill you in next month. And then the first of our 6 new flyers hit the line this week. So we expect them in April. So that's awesome. And I just want to shout out to Golden Gate. The Gilligs that we are leasing from you guys have been a literal lifesaver. Like, I'm just going to write the biggest thank you note to everyone involved when we're done with this lease and return them, because our 2011 diesel hybrids are dropping like flies right now. They're as promised by our fleet superintendent, and they are indeed dying. And so we would not be able to make pullout without your buses. So thanks, guys. Great partnership. That's all I've got.
All right, great. Thank you. All right. Well, we are just flying through this agenda. We're down to other business comments and announcements. I just wanted to mention that we are getting ready to release our draft comprehensive transportation plan. I sent over a kind of pretty final but admin draft of the public transit section to the operators to take a quick look at, but we are putting it into design next week. So if anything, if there's anything you need to flag or that looks incorrect, please do that this week. And we will be having an open house.
28.
Thank you.
From 6 to 7:30.
Here.
Yep.
In our office.
That should be fun. We'll have activities for the kids. We'll have some food and yeah, highlight some of the finer points of the CTP. So we can bring it to this committee next month. Present on it, and the draft will be out then. Awesome. Thanks, Dana.
Thank you. All right. Any other comments, business announcements?
I have a question. Since Marin Transit's updating their bus stop guidelines, do any of the Sonoma County operators have guidelines? So we get approached occasionally about our bus stops, and we typically defer to the local agency, assuming that they have some sort of spec that it can accommodate a 45-foot bus. Just curious if SCT or city, but well, you said you're gonna just use theirs, right?
Well, we do have,
We're
but
happy to loan you ours.
yeah, we have, well, I was thinking about the bus bike integration because that's something
Oh,
we
yeah.
haven't really developed guidelines for, but we do, I'm just gonna be honest, ours are really old, need an update, and it's kind of like an ongoing conversation because the city design standards generally need an update and that sort of, yeah, so we have them, but I wouldn't necessarily put them forward as being as up to date as they should be, but we can keep you posted if we get that project going again.
We have them, ours need a minor updates. I think they're fairly close. I am curious to see the Marin ones too, and to see what those look like.
They're gonna be outstanding.
Of course they are.
Well.
Not to overpromise or anything, since I'm not doing the
Basic specs, but I'm also planning on stealing Marin Transit's.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Coordination.
We call it coordination.
Yeah, and I think I'll just say one thing that we'd really like to do is like, we have like specs, right? Like the ADA landing pad needs to be that kind of thing, but we'd like to see more agreement internally around, using some of the NACTO guidelines around like bus stop placement and different design treatments. And so I think that's why, it's not so much that the individual specs need to be updated, so we just kind of want to like refresh the whole approach to how we, implement bus stops. And that's a bigger lift because we got to get everybody on board with that. So anyway, happy to share whatever it's useful, but we're going to wait for Kath.
There was we did do like best practices review
Yeah.
and there's a lot of variation.
Yeah.
Like I was just reviewing a document yesterday and, just length of bus stop, they varies by like 30 to 40 feet.
Yeah.
Regardless of whether it's near side, far side, like even if it's all the same specs, there's just a lot of variation. For the same size bus, there's a lot of variation. So I think it's somewhat comes down to, there's a range and then you kind of have to pick what your agency preferences or realism with the streets you operate on.
Yeah.
But we will have some of that compiled, so perhaps helpful. Right. I have one other thing, which is we are moving forward with updating our SRTP because we don't want to wait 2 more years to update our 10-year financial plan and all of that. So even right now, we're like many more than 2 years behind the last major update we did. I think the last major update we did was 2020, and then we did the little weird MTC required one in 23 or something. So we are planning on having a new SRTP adopted by this spring, maybe like May. Is anyone else doing their SRTPs?
Do you know who the contact is at MTC now? Because I can't get in touch with anyone.
It's not coming to mind, but we have been in touch with somebody. I think 2027 is the new deadline. Like they've just put it all on hold for 2 more years, or I guess 1 more year. But I'm happy to loop you in on conversations we've had.
Yeah, I mean, we need to do one. I reached out, but I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah, I know the previous contact, Terrence, left to work at ARC or AC Transit or something like that. I can't remember. He left for another agency. So there's somebody new, but I just don't know who that new person is also.
And we're in a similar boat as both you described. Out of curiosity, how much are you doing internal versus external?
We're doing it all internally.
Okay.
Yeah. And once MTC releases whatever they release, we might just do like an addendum. They'll have some financial scenarios or whatever. So it just puts us on a very weird schedule, kind of, because if they do 2027, then we'll want to do ours again in 2028. So we'll have to figure that out. We might have another 3-year gap or something, but yeah, and we're going to be happy to have that.
Yeah, we're kicking off some planning work now, partially, around supporting Mascots implementation, but also just some post-COVID refresh of our system, which is needed. So yeah, so my plan was basically that becomes the SRTP service plan. And then it will be later this year. I mean, maybe the fall that we'd be looking to, actually adopt. So, our version of an SRTP largely based on the long-term guidelines and then to see what MTC comes up. They're kind of doing the same thing. So we should probably talk too. Yeah. Okay.
Great. Last call for other announcements, updates. Thank you all.
Okay.
We'll see you next month, February 11th.
Okay.
World's fastest
Thank you.
T-TAC.
Yes,
Yes,
that was-
absolutely. 5 minutes, maybe a record.
Yeah.
So